Hey everybody, and welcome to the live demonstration of the D-Link DEX cloud platform. So we're going to log in here, and after logging in, immediately you're presented with the device dashboard. This gives you a brief overview, device summary of how many total devices you have, how many are online, offline, inactive, and in your inventory. And of course, you're also given devices that are online by model. Obviously, for the purposes of this demonstration, we're using the DWLM 311G. It's the one that's in our lab, and that's the one we'll be using today. And on the right here, you'll see your device profiles. Again, there are many different types of device profiles, but again, for the purpose of this demonstration, we're going to be using just the simple 5G NR M2M modem, which is what the 311G is. It's a very simple 5G modem. So on the left-hand side, we've got the navigation pane. This can be collapsed or pinned if you wish. If you choose to have it collapsed, you can just roll over each of your items and you can navigate accordingly. So we're going to come down onto the Devices tab. The first item in the Devices tab is your device management, okay, and this gives you devices that are in use, your inventory, how many inactive, and if you've decided to label any as your favorites. And then you can sub-filter that by all, online or offline. In your inventory, you can have new imported or decommissioned, and we actually do have one that's decommissioned, the DWM 314G, which is decommissioned in our inventory, which we can redeploy at a later time if we wish. We've got non-inactive under stop service, none are expired, none are broken. But again, you can categorize your devices if you decide to retrieve them, or if they're broken, or if you RMA'd them, or if you're just simply not using it for the time being, you can retrieve them and decide what you want to categorize them as, so they're easy enough to find. So in terms of the one that we have online, the 311G, here it will list it and give you an overview, telling me that it's online, what group it's part of, and some basic information such as your cellular signal there. On the right hand side, we've got some additional functions here. We can add it to favorites, as I mentioned a moment ago. We can move device to a group. We can assign tags. We can deactivate the license, and we can also extend the license. So if we're coming to the end of our license period, we can simply extend that after purchasing a new license. So let's use the tags feature for a moment. This can be quite useful if you want to have a very quick and easy way of identifying the product. So we've got it selected here. We've created some tags earlier, but we want to assign that to me, and we want to say it's in the lab. So you can have multiple locations, you have lab, office, sales, marketing, wherever you want to create those tags. We click OK. We assign the tags. That's now assigned, and we can submit. So this will update shortly and show us that it's assigned to me in the lab. So if we click on the device in question, it will pop out this window here and gives us an overview. It gives us the last report time, which we can refresh. We can randomly perform a connection request if we wish. We can also program the location. Now, a quick note on that: for devices that have got GPS natively built in, this will automatically populate, so it'll report that as part of the periodic inform. But the 311G doesn't have GPS on board, so we can easily enough configure this here under the longitude and latitude setting. Again, you can grab that from Google Maps. Easy enough to do, not a problem. And it'll show us the Google Map location of that. This gives you an overview of the device information, so you can quickly and easily see what firmware version you're running, what the IMEI is, and what the IP address is, etc. And again, here we can see the cellular interface information, so we can track what our signal quality is. So if we've got any connectivity problems, we can quickly and easily see here, well, your SINR or your RSR cube might be poor, so try moving the device to a different location. So just a very simple, quick way of determining these types of things for troubleshooting. It'll also give us the device internal IP and any connected clients beyond it. Of course, in our example in the lab, we've got one of our business routers connected. On the operations tab, we can do various things. We can reboot the device if we need to. We can reset it to factory default, and we can also perform a firmware upgrade. We can also do a configuration import. So if we want to change any particular settings on the device, we can import the file to DEX. We'll show you that in a little while. We can select the config file that we have, and we can push that out to the device itself. We can also do an export of a config file from a remote device. So if a device is deployed at a location, a particular sales office or whatever, we can say, okay, let's pull that config file in. Once you click this button, it will download that from the device and email it to you. You can then re-import it back to DEX if you wish, or give it a different alias and some different settings, and you can then deploy that to other devices out in the field if you need to. And the same again for log files. If we want to check what's been going on with the device, we can simply download the devices remotely. And again, those are emailed across to you so you can see what's going on. So really handy for administrators. Under the diagnostics tab, we can do some pings. If we need to check connectivity, we can also do a trace route. And we can also do a download and an upload test as well. Now, for these types of tests, we can also see a history of that in this little graph here as well, which is going to be quite useful. And finally, for the stats, this is really useful as well. We can track our signal quality over time. So as you can see here, it will track the RSRP, the RSRQ, what band you're connected to. So you can see, okay, what's happening in my location? Do I need to move this to a better location? Have I had any connection dropouts and any sort of band switching? And it's just really useful to keep track of that. And again, here, if you've got a device that has multiple cellular interfaces, because we do have some products that will have two, so you can have like SIM A, SIM B. You can select which interface you want to track. Again, all of this information can be downloaded by the click of this button here, which will download those into a CSV. Again, increased usage, LAN usage as well can be really useful. You can see how much data has been passing over the WAN. And for some products which we do have Wi-Fi as well on board, you can track the Wi-Fi usage as well. But obviously the 311G in this demonstration is simply just a modem, so we don't have any Wi-Fi on board. So we can also do some scheduled tasks. We can set these up. As you can see, I've already set up one for a weekly reboot. So every Sunday night at just before midnight, I'm going to ask the DEX system to send this reboot command out, just so every Monday morning the device is up and fresh, had a reboot, and is ready to go. But you can also select a reset if you want to reset the device, a config deploy, or a firmware upgrade. So you've got these different options which you can set if you need to deploy a firmware every 2 weeks or whatever, or if you want to do a config deploy, or just want to factory reset the device for whatever reason, you do have that flexibility. Tag management, as again, you saw some of the tags we assigned previously. So I've set up a couple here, Lab, Phil, and Stephen. So again, you can delete or edit these as you see fit. So for this one, I can change the color as well. And you can assign these to devices. So very, very straightforward. You can create tags here, and we can just say sales, and we'll do yellow, submit, and now we've got that additional tag here. On this section here, you can upload your OTA files. So again, as we mentioned earlier, firmware and config files can be uploaded here. So if you've got multiple devices, you can add any of the firmware files that for each device and deploy them as you see fit. And it gives you the version here, the full image. Device config file, again, I've downloaded the config file for my device. So if I ever need to redeploy that, if there's any problems or any issues, I can simply push that out again. And I can also reboot the device for that to take effect. Alert rules, these are really useful for tracking connectivity remotely. So I've set up a couple here, online to offline and offline to online. So if my device ever goes offline for any reason, I'm going to get an email notifying me that that's happened so I can track it. So if I've lost cellular signal, or I don't know if the device may have gone faulty for whatever reason, or if there's another connectivity problem, someone's popped the SIM out or something like that, you can get an alert to let you know, hey, this device is offline. You should go get that checked out. And if it doesn't recover, of course, then you can send an engineer to site. But you've also got offline to online as well, which will tell you, hey, I've recovered, I'm back online. Another one as well is traffic usage. This is a useful one as well. You can set a WAN traffic alert. So I've set this to 50 meg, so I know when that device is active, and when it breaches 50 meg, I know traffic's passing over my WAN, and I know everything's working as we would expect. Status report time. Now, this is something that you can customize. The default status report time is 24 hours, but you can modify this if you want it every 12 hours or every 36 hours. But of course, you can also select a custom time frame as well. It's up to you what you want. If you want it to be periodically informing on a much faster basis, maybe every hour, you can set that as well. Again, for the heartbeat time, you can modify this as well if you wish. The standard is 15 minutes. You can set a custom 15 minutes, but you can go down to 1 hour, 3 hours, 6 hours, or 12 hours. So it's fairly straightforward. And task timeout time as well is set to 15 minutes, particular for this particular device. Device profiles is what I mentioned earlier. As you can see, we've got various different types of devices. So depending on what device you add to DEX, it will link to one of these device profiles. And obviously, this is a lot of the products that we have in our range. So you can quickly and easily identify from your dashboard, oh, I've got a modem, I've got a PoE modem, I've got a transit gateway, whatever I've got is listed there, so I can see quickly and easily what I've got on my system. So licenses, this is where you manage all of your device licenses. Again, it's very, very straightforward. This will initially show me what licenses I've got activated. So this is the current one we've got in the lab. It gives us an order time, an import time, a start and expiry time. So we know that in May next year, I'm going to have to purchase a new license to extend that beyond its current time. So we've also got one available. This is something that I've got in my inventory. So if I add a new device, I can simply assign this license to that device and get that up and running. Also, if you retrieve a device for whatever reason, if a device goes faulty or if it's no longer needed in that particular location and you retrieve that back into your inventory, you can also retrieve the license. So you can deactivate the device and bring that back into your inventory, and that becomes a reusable license, which we have here. So that may have expired, may have ran for 2 or 3 months. I've retrieved it into my inventory. I can now redeploy that reusable license to a new device, and then I can continue from that point where it was retrieved. And any expired licenses are shown here, of course. So again, very simple, very straightforward license management. You can import licenses here. You can do it via license keys file, or you can do it manually. So manually, you simply enter your license key. You can add multiples if you wish. You can add a description. You can import those licenses one by one if you want to. Under the Organization tab, we've got organizational details and organization users. So in this particular example, we've got UK&I test, which is what we're using here. Under this structure, I have created a remote site. I've called it Liverpool, and I've got 2 offices in that region. So I've got a region of Liverpool. I've got 2 sites of City Centre office and Sefton office. So you can assign devices to regions and sites if you're on a multi-site or multi-region structure on your organization. It's very flexible to do that. And if you also have a floor plan, you can upload it here as well. So you can say, here's my floor plan of the office or location or warehouse, or whatever it is you've installed it to. And you can say it's in this particular location here. So for monitors, administrators, engineers, they can quickly and easily identify, right, this device is located in this building at that location, and they can quickly identify that. And again, for users, you can add multiple users here. And just to give you an overview of the permissions, we have got admin, manager, supervisor, and monitor. So for my users, I've added John Smith as a monitor. So if you've got help desk agents or just people you just want access to the system just to see what's going on, just to see the device details, you can give them the monitor role. It doesn't give them any control whatsoever on any of the tasks. It just allows them to see the detail of the device. So they can report to their supervisor or their manager, this device has this IMEI or this signal quality or whatever the statistics may be. They can quickly and easily see that, but they don't have any control, so I can keep the devices safe. And again, supervisor and manager roles do have a lot more control over what you can and can't do. And of course, the admin can do everything. That's really useful. And finally, we have the activity log. Now you have user activity and device activity. User activity will show you everything that's been happening by the particular user. Of course, in this example, it's just myself who's been creating accounts, creating sites, deleting regions, and anything to do with user activity is listed here. Device activity, again, we've only got the one device in this demonstration, but that can tell you, okay, heartbeat's been received. We've enabled a reboot schedule. We have download test complete, and so on, start download test. So it gives you all the devices that you've got deployed in your estate. All the actions will be displayed here as well. So that's it, guys. So thank you very much for listening, and have a good day.